So really what we're trying to do with the coaching officer, we're trying to do a lot of things in a club, but really the coaching officer is a facilitator. If you look up at what we have here, this being the existing club model, I suppose. In some clubs it is the existing club model. In other clubs we're moving on. And if you just look up at that, you'll probably see three disparate groups. You have the coaches, coach your under 18, under 10, under 12s, under 14s, intermediate team, junior team. A lot of what I'm going to speak about is probably relevant to the Irish coaching scene at the moment and the Irish club scene. So I'm just hoping that you're going to take something specifically out of this. I'm going to go through all the different areas that the coaching officer covers and promotes within the club, and hope that you might take one thing out of it or two things out of it. And any time, feel free to stop me, question me, or tell me to hurry up and get out of here if I'm wasting your time. But that would be, in some clubs, that would be the existing model. On the one side, you have a cohort of players who are working away. You have the coaches and you have the club. And again, sometimes even within that, as you know yourself, again, you'll have your coaches. You'll have the coach under 14, you'll have the coach under 8s, the coach under 16s, right? And sometimes I've been in clubs as a facilitator myself, trying to bring these people together. Because sometimes what can happen is the under 8s can become an autonomous body themselves, the under 15s can become an autonomous body. And recently we started talking about the player pathway. What are the characteristics, what are the capacities that we want to develop in kids? What do we want to develop in under 8s? What specifically do we want to work on? What do we want to develop, or how do we want to progress that onto under 12s, under 10s, under 12s, under 14s? And is there a common thread? Is there a common understanding between all of the coaches that are working with these kids? In other words, they're being handed on from under 8 group onto the under 10 group. Are we progressing what they've already been doing? Is there a common philosophy? Is there a common football philosophy? And this is probably what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to a situation where there's an understanding by all these groups. With central to that, the whole fulcrum of that is central is the player's involvement or the player's development. But also, the players have to understand the contribution that these people make, the contribution that the administration makes. It's not just financial contribution. There's a lot of time and energy expended by people who go to meetings trying to ensure there's a good structure here and there's good mechanisms so that these people can develop. But also the relationship to develop the relationship between the club and the coach. And to me, the coaching officer is one of the prime implementers and catalysts in ensuring that this model exists. This is the existing model. If you take any particular club, I think that there's 4 areas in that club that we have to cater for. The nursery or child program, the youth program, the adult program, and I think what's going to become very big is our recreation program. And we'll get to it later on in the recreation. And underpinning all of that, of course, is coach education. Ensuring that your coaches are all equipped with the information, they're armed with the information, and they're equipped with the facilities and the resources. And again, that's a specific role for the coaching officer. When I look at the coaching officer, his role is to attempt to establish a coaching structure within the club. Now, what is the coaching structure? The coaching structure to me is a coaching committee, very simple coaching committee. That you get the manager of the under 8s, the under 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s, your intermediate team, your junior team, and your senior team to sit together to form coaching policy. So there's a clear understanding from under 8 right up to senior level of what we expect. What's the program? What program do we want to expect? And who sets the program? The coaching committee, the people themselves. I've been very fortunate to sit in a number of these particular clubs and to sit with these people in their first meeting and say, right, what's your philosophy? What's the coaching philosophy within the club? coaching philosophy. Every philosophy is underpinned by what your beliefs and your values. What should you be doing with under 8 level? Again, going back to the same thing, what should you be doing under 10 level? At the end of the program, at the end of the under 8 program, what should they have developed? And what I know, particularly at home, traditionally what has happened is your neighbouring club, if you didn't beat them in the under 14 league or the under 14 championship, I think we have to get a new manager next year. This fellow's not up for it. That has been the measurement, that has been the evaluation of whether they win the local, the first round of the league or the first round of the championship, the semi-final of the championship, or whatever. That has been the evaluation. So we get these people to sit down in a room and we get to examine exactly where they are now. And the issues that will come up will be issues such as this. What's success? What is success at underage level? Improvement. Right. Can anybody be more specific than that?
Development.
Say that again?
Development.
Can you be more specific? You're an under 18, right? You're an under 18 and you have them for the season. And you sit down at the beginning of the season and you say to yourself, right, I want these kids to improve. What do you want to work on? We say football, right? So we want to work on? We want to work on them. First of all, you say your weaknesses, right? Would you agree? Would you agree with that? Do you agree with that? Very interesting article last week about a different code, right? It was on the Irish Independent. About the new coach of the Leinster team. And they were wondering how come there's been such an improvement between the previous management and this present management. And the players were interviewed, and their answer, it's in relation to what you were saying there, their answer of how there was such, I suppose, paradigm shift, how there been such an improvement over the last number of years was because this coach came in and specifically worked on their strengths. He left their weaknesses aside. It's an interesting coaching thing because that's exactly what comes up in a lot of places. We say, let's work on the weaknesses. I've had that experience, to be honest with you. Well, I've had a lot of different experience, but I've had that experience working with an inter-county team at one stage, right? Where I had 2 or 3 selectors, and we specifically all the time, a lot of the time, we were looking at what were the weaknesses and trying to develop the weaknesses. At the same time, we weren't putting as much time and energy into developing their strengths. So, these are interesting things that come up when you start to discuss and you sit down with a group of people, right, who are in charge of football, and you say to themselves, right, we have a blank sheet here, it's a carte blanche, what do we want to develop in these kids? And generally they'll come up with things like that. Look, we want to work on bilateral development. Can they strike with the right hand? Can they strike with the left hand? Can they kick with the right foot? Can they kick with the left? Can they block down? Can they do the very simple things? Have they got anticipation? What are their movement skills like? Do they like the game? Is it going to be an enjoyable session? Is it going to be a successful session? What's a successful session? Successful session is where there's enjoyment, but there's also a challenge. Where the challenge meets the enjoyment, or the enjoyment meets the challenge. If they're under challenged, it may not be in a successful session for them. Other things which you look at, if you're looking at coaching policy, if you're a group of coaches sitting down together, you're looking at success, you're looking at competition, form of competition. You're looking at games, the type of games, the number of games. Ensure that they have a number of games, the type of games, we'll move on to it. And I know, Pat, I'm probably encouraging in your area because you're going to move into this later on. But the first thing we have to ensure is that all the kids are getting games. I was very fortunate to come up in an era where the first formal competition was under 16. But we played every evening. And the games were always equal. Because if they weren't, we stopped the game, we changed the teams. And there was never a substitution. There was never anybody sat down. You couldn't, because you had 7 aside or 8 aside or 9 aside. Whoever arrived, we played. And we played until we got tired. And we coached ourselves.